Welcome to my particle tutorial, because why not? In this tutorial I'll be telling you everything you need to know about the particle emitter properties. This is basically a tutorial if you think about it, but yeah, just telling you everything about particles. So right off the bat you're gonna see a few things. Appearance, data, emission, emitter shape, flipbook, motion, acceleration, whatever you think about it. Particles, attributes. Attributes are something else. Just, I can just do this and whatever. Yeah. So the main things you want to know is appearance, emission, emitter shape, and flipbook and motion. So yeah, let's go start with appearance. So in color, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just can color your particle whatever you want to do. For example, I wanted it like red, I could make it like purple, something like that. Make it blue, make it teal, green, yellow, red again, make it even white, and stuff like that. Let's just make it like this color, why not? Now, the next property is light emission. It's basically how bright your particle is. Basically, if I do this, it's pretty bright. If it's like, set it to 0.5, it's in the middle. Set it to like 0.75, it's leaning to more like the bright ones. Oh shit. Anyways, this light influence, it basically is how much your environment influences the particle. So let me just set it to 1. So basically, for example, if you have like lighting which is like orangish, it'll add an orange hue to the particle. If I set this to 0, this nothing will be affected by the particle won't be affected by the light. And then when I set this to 0, you're gonna see a new what do you call property, brightness. Basically, brightness is an upscale to light emission and like how bright it is. For example, I can make it this and make it 100, could be completely white and stuff like that. And another additional thing about this is that if I set this to minus 2, and set this to like 5 or like 10, if I make this like rate 2, it's gonna have a black outline or something. If I increase it, it's gonna have more of a thick black outline, if you can see it's like that. So that's pretty cool. And brightness also works if you have 0 light emission, so that's pretty nice. Now, orientation. This is one of the main reasons why particle looks so good. So facing cameras, basically it's facing cameras. I can mix what do you call circles with it. Like if it explodes, I could make a impact, some circles with it, and stuff like that. Facing camera rolled up is basically it's a 2-dimensional following the camera in 2 dimensions. There. Here it doesn't follow the camera and my Roblox studio froze. Never mind, it's come back. Yeah. Velocity parallel is basically it faces the direction it is going. So if I set this the rotation to like, never mind, if I set this to 360, which makes it go all around, it's gonna face the place where it's going through. If I set this to 1, -1, basically, it's facing the place it's going. So that's pretty nice. Anyways, velocity perpendicular is basically, it's basically how flat. If you think about it, it's just flat. Wherever it goes, it's like, it's kicked. Like punched, it's flat out, just going there. That's the best I can think about explaining it to you. Anyways, size, it judges how much the size is of the particle. For example, if I set it to 2, it's basically size 2, I don't know, probably 2 studs or something, 3, 9, whatever you think, whatever you can think of. There's also size sequences, so that I can set as like this, and then it'll change its size over time. Like, see this? If I set this to like this, delete this, and like do this and stuff like that, it's gonna increase in size over time. And you can do a lot of things. You can make it a zigzag, like I'm doing right here. You can make it into an abomination. Make it like this. Just set it to a still, and now squash. Squash is stretching the particle. For example, if I set this to 1, it's squashed through the y-axis. If I set it to -1, squashed through the x-axis. Basically, it aids in the velocity per parallel department and like how it like is stretchy. Now, let me set this back. And now texture. The most important part of your particle is the texture. You can find textures all over the Roblox toolbox. I recommend you pull out something called Bingus. Yeah, Bingus particle pack. It's a really nice particle pack, and even though it's named like really goofy, yeah, if I put the slash, it could change to that. Yeah. Now, transparency. Basically, how transparent it is. If I turn it to 0.1, you can't see it, but it's a bit transparent. 0.5. Now you can see the transparency. 1 is just completely gone. You can also make it transparency sequence, and then you can make it this. It can fade over time, or you can just make it like the transparency come over time, like it's just coming back in a reality, and stuff like that. Now the data is just whatever you think about it. Just use it if you want to. I can change the name from it and change the parent from it and stuff like. Oops. Anyways, now here comes the most important part of the particle, the emission category. Emission direction, where your emission is. If I set this to that, I can make it go from the front to the left to the right. Whatever you think about it, it'll go through it. Enabled is basically if the particle is enabled. You can use this in scripts, and how to use it, well, in scripts. Lifetime. This is one of the most key factors inside of your particle. For example, if I set this to 0.5, the particle will only last for 0.5 seconds. If I set this to 2, it'll last for 2 seconds. Really nice. You can also make it 1, 2. You can make it vary between 1 and 2. You can make it vary between 0 and 2. And whatever you think about it, it can vary through it. Rate is basically how many particles are, how frequently the particles are being emitted. Let me just set it to 1. Basically, since I'm using a lower graphics quality, I don't think this is per second. It has to be some mathematical formula for the rate for my graphics thing. But if it's probably graphics at the highest stage, then it's probably gonna be 10 per second. Like, let me just show you how much I lag. Physics. No, not physics. Where is it? Rendering. I have 14 right now. If I set it to 21, it's gonna be like way more detailed. It's probably gonna be like per second, and plus things are gonna look more like Roblox as most people know it. And yeah. Anyways, let me just set it back to 14. Now, rotation is basically how much rotation your particle ID has. If I set it as 360 minus 360, it's gonna rotate all over. It's gonna has random rotation. If I set this to like 60, it's gonna have 60 degrees rotation. Pretty easy. Rotation speed is basically how fast your particle rotates. It's pretty satisfying if you think about it. If I set it like this, and then like set the rotation speed to like 1,000. See, pretty satisfying if you ask me. 25. Yeah, pretty nice. Nice. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's also this envelope. Basically, envelope, what it does is makes variance into the particle emitter. For example, if I did that, it now has a variance in size. Now I can increase the rate, and it looks more beautiful. Now let me just set this to 5 so you can see the lavender more. Probably like 0.5, or why not? Oh yeah, this looks pretty good. Yeah, pretty nice if you ask me. Plus this also happens, so that's also pretty nice of a slinky. Anyways, speed is basically how fast your particle goes up and down. If I set it to -5, it'll go the opposite of the emission direction. If I set it to 10, yeah, it goes here. Probably 10 studs per second or something. Yeah, if I set this to 1, it's gonna be one stud of travel. Set it to 5 studs of travel per second. Set it to 2. Basically, that's my point. And yeah, spread angle is basically how how much your particle spreads,